So this is the gap period. And then after the 69 weeks, the Messiah will be cut off. He was crucified. That is a date. That's a wrong. I put this as a don't. It is not April 6/32. By mistake, it is there. After this, Messiah entered the Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. That is April 6/32 AD. And after that, Passover, he was crucified. So don't make a mistake. Don't write down that. After the Passover, that was, before this crucifixion, Jesus entered Jerusalem, Palm Sunday. And then after 4 days, because the Bible very clearly says they have to keep the lamb on the 10th of Nisan, examine the lamb for 4 days, and then in the twilight they have to kill the lamb. That's right. So Exodus says that. So same, God has fulfilled that same prophecy. So on the Passover, the lamb was attested before that Passover, 4 days before. That was April 6/32 AD. And these were not determined by imaginations of some people. Their thorough study was made and they have arrived about this date. Okay. Then the Messiah was cut off, crucified. That was over. And the second event, the people of the prince who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. Who is this people of the prince? The people were dominating the Israel that time was a Romans. The prince of the people, he is going to come and he is going to destroy the city. In AD 70, Titus, Roman general, he destroyed the city. He burnt the temple, and that prophecy has been fulfilled. There was a little bit gap there. It is not, in continuation. There's always a gap period. And, maybe 32 AD, Christ crucified, and 70, there's almost 40 years gap, the city was destroyed. And next is, and the end will come with a flood. Even to the end, there will be war, desolations are determined. Is this fulfilled? Not yet. So that's the reason I say, is it the end of the history or the history of the Israel? Once the temple is destroyed, all people were scattered all over the world. Is it over? Not yet. There are some more events have to be taken place during that time. So what are those things? The nation Israel went into the shadow. No more Israel on the screen, but Israel is still alive. See, there is a lot of, as I already shared with you, that there are many theologians making their own doctrines. Doctrine of replacement theology. You all, I don't know whether you are aware of that or not. We must be very clear about that. Replacement theology says the church replaced Israel. There is no more Israel. Israel is finished. That's erroneous doctrine. But to them, they are hanging on to that. Why I said it is erroneous? Because Israel is still alive. Israel is still, it is in the shadow, but it is not done. So, that is the one thing. And then end of the Gentile nations. It's not the end of the Gentile nations. So that has to be fulfilled during this gap period. And the church. That's very strange. In the Old Testament, in the gap period, the church was in the mind of heart of God. It's a mystery. So here, the Old Testament prophets, they have seen in the perspective of what God has revealed them. They have seen the first coming of Christ, all the prophecies they have seen. And they have seen the second coming. Second coming prophecies are not strange or new in the Old Testament. They have seen, in fact, more prophecies about the second coming are written in the Old Testament, 1,527 prophecies. But whereas in the New Testament, it's only 370. So Old Testament, they were looking for the Messiah to come. But the church was not there in their mind, understanding. And they also saw the millennial reign of Christ. Isaiah writes about it. Ezekiel writes about it. Ezekiel 40 to 48, all chapters are related to the millennial kingdom. So they know all these things. But what was hidden from them was the church. Church was a hidden from the Old Testament prophets. And it's a mystery. And if you read Ephesians 3rd chapter, verse 2 to 6, it's a very clearly written that the mystery was revealed now. It's revealed now. And even, when Jesus said, I'm going to build my church, when he was on this earth, till Acts 2nd chapter, that was a mystery for even the apostles. That's the reason apostles were only focusing when Jesus was taking them to the Mount Olives. You see in the Acts chapter 1, they're asking Jesus, when are you going to establish the kingdom? Is it the time? They were all focused on the establishment of the kingdom. They are all focusing that Jesus would come and establish the kingdom. They never had understanding that Jesus would come and take the believers to heaven. The rapture is a mystery. Again, Paul says in 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, mystery is a mysterium in Greek, which means they're hidden for some time, for some reason. It is there. So we'll find how the church was revealed. Okay. Then we'll see the details in the parenthesis or gap period. So here, the nation Israel in the shadow, mystery of the church in history that is in shadow, and Jesus' prophecy about the Gentiles is also yet to be fulfilled. And then fulfillment of Ezekiel 38, 37 chapters, that is 36 and 37, that is regathering and restoration of nation Israel. Before God could bring the people into the land, chapter 36, Ezekiel is preparing the land, preparing the mountains. It says, you, my people, are coming. Because before that it was a barren land. It's a wasteland. It's a desolated. But God has to make it fertile land. You know, today Israel is number one in agriculture in the world. It was actually a barren land, desolate land. So Ezekiel 36 has to be fulfilled. And then 37, it's a dry bone valley. There was no hope. But God has in his own plan, he regathered all Israel. And then birth of the church, the Great Commission has to be fulfilled. The rapture, they're all hidden there. And the 10 horns kingdom has to come. These are all hidden in that gap period. The gap period is unknown time. It started immediately after the end of the 69 weeks. That is April 6, AD 32. And today we are living in 2022. We don't know how long it's going to be. It can be tomorrow or it can be still further. We don't know. We are not going to set the dates or timings. And after that, Antichrist will come onto the stage. Until such time, Antichrist cannot come, because there is a restrainer, he is restraining him. And that is the period of the last week, the 70th week. This will give the complete picture of 70 weeks prophecy. And these are the hidden, still have to be fulfilled. These have to be fulfilled. Nation Israel, the church, and the Gentile nations. And now we are going to see the church, the unique role of the church in history and prophecy. We don't see in the prophecy, isn't it? But now, even my friends, if you carefully read some passages in Isaiah, I want to tell you, when I'm going to take the class about rapture of the church and the different views about the rapture, how the Old Testament prophets prophesied about the rapture. The mystery of the church. Right, this is the beginning of, after Jesus Christ died, he was buried and rose again on 43rd day, and 40 days he spent his time exclusively with the disciples. All 3.5 years with the public, Pharisees, Sadducees, religious leaders. But these 40 days, Jesus was exclusively spending time with his disciples. And after 40 days, he ascended into heaven. And then on Pentecost, 10 days later, that is the 50th day, the Holy Spirit descended and the church was born. And today we are living in the church age. Revelation 2 and 3 chapters are complete picture of the past, present, and future church history. And Jesus Christ is amidst the 7 lampstands. These 7 lampstands represents the church. 7 churches. Symbolic, or a kind of picture that is giving about the churches past, present, and future. So he is ruling, he is the Lord of the church. Church means the universal church. My friends, there's a lot of confusion again. See, some people say the persecution in the Bible, where whatever the written in the Bible about the persecution, tribulation, they're for the universal church. No doubt the local churches were suffering. church at Thessalonica, church at Ephesus, church at Antioch, church in Jerusalem. They were the local churches. But when it comes to the rapture, or when it comes to the tribulation, when it comes to the persecution, it is the universal church. So, the universal church is going to be raptured. Word never said, Jesus never said, no, I'm going to, because, the India church is a very devoted people, or Eastern people are very devoted, I'm going to take them not to America. No, my friends. Why the local church? Universal church is unseen. It's a mystical body of Christ. In that universal church, all believers who believed in Jesus Christ, maybe from Japan, India, China, Russia, even the remote parts of the islands, all in that universal church. You can't see them. But the local church, God has planned so that the people who are in this universal church may be grown, may be edified in the local church. Local church is for the growth of the believer. Local church is like a center where we can grow in his image. So, this is the church age we are living in. And the church age, one day, preparing for the rapture. My friends, in God's agenda of prophecy, immediate item is the rapture. Is the rapture. You believe me? See, whenever we have some program, special program, we write a program sheet agenda. What is the agenda? First, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last one is, if you want to ask me, what is the last item on the program of God? Prophecy. Today, it is the rapture. Rapture. So the church is preparing for the rapture. And I said, the Old Testament prophet, Isaiah is writing this. Come, my people, enter into your home, rooms, and close your doors behind you. Hide in a little while until indignation runs its course. But behold, the Lord is, sorry, I'm a little bit unable to see that, very small there. Yeah, just give me a couple of minutes. I'm sorry about it. Well, but behold, the Lord is about to come out of it from his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, and the earth will reveal her bloodshed and no longer cover her slain. Now, this is the Isaiah's prophecy. Can you imagine to whom addressing? Is it nation Israel or is it the church? It says, come my people, come up. And you enter into your rooms. In the whole Bible, I'm sorry if I say, don't make mistake. I've read this Bible more than, I stopped counting, more than 50 times. I read so many times, but I never found God is preparing a place for Jewish people or Israel, though they are his inheritance. But God has promised to the church. John's Gospel, 14th chapter. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go and prepare a place for you. When I prepare the place, he said, I will come again and take you to myself, where I live, you may be also. So the rooms, the mansions are promised to the church. You will see that in Old Testament. They didn't know about it. It's a mystery. And also it says, close the doors. How long? For a little while. For a little while. Why the little while? The indignation should take its course. The God's wrath has to complete. When the church entered the heaven into the mansions on the earth, 7-year tribulation period. That is the indignation, the angry, that wrath of God must run. Isn't it? So, what a nice fitting into the Old Testament. The church is ready for the rapture. And Jesus will come with a shout, with the trump of God. He will say, come up, my people. Come up, my people. The church is raptured. And is that over? From there, church will go to the Father's home. We'll be there only for 7 years. I studied the Bible. How long we are going to be in heaven? Only 7 years. Only 7 years, my friends. Only 7 years. Then we'll come back. We'll come back. With the rapture of the church, the gap period will come to an end. The gap period will come to an end. And at that time, the Antichrist will come. And he will make a covenant with many for 1 week. And the church, from Father's home, there are 7 years. There is going to be wedding, and there is going to be judgment seat of Christ. The believers are going to be rewarded. It's wonderful. Heaven is not an idle place. There's a full of glory and full of joy. And we are going to be rewarded, my friends. The payday is someday. Payday is someday. So, in heaven, the 7 years on the earth, tribulation, the indignation, the course of indignation is running through. And in heaven, we are going to be rewarded. And then marriage of the Lamb. And then after 7 years, the church will follow Christ and come to this earth along with Christ. It is the return of Christ. The second coming is in the 2 stages. The first is the church is raptured, and the second, church along with Christ is coming down. One is harpezo in Greek, harpezo, cut up. And another one is parousia, arrival. It is coming down to the earth. And then he is going to establish the millennial kingdom. And we are going to reign with Christ. Hallelujah. What a glory, what a joy, what a joy. We are going to be reigning along with Christ. And millennial reign. And after the millennial reign, there's going to be a great white throne judgment. It's nothing to do with us. It is only for the unbelievers. And then the eternity. So this is the church history, or the church. On the Pentecost, it was born. Now we are living in the church age. We are supposed to fulfill the great commission of God as the servants, as the stewards of God, and we are preparing to become into his image. And then one day Jesus will come and take us home, the rapture, and then in heaven 7 years, and then come down to reign along with him. This is the church history. This is the church history. And in the parenthesis, there is also, I said, nation Israel went into the shadow. It's not done. It's not done. So how Israel is going to come up? So that also we'll see. So, destiny of nation Israel. There is a definite destiny. The millennial kingdom, during the millennial kingdom, God is going to establish the kingdom for nation Israel. When they have rejected their master, God has left them. Here the 70 weeks, 70 weeks are decreed for Jewish people, and then for the nation Israel, for the temple. So Jesus entered. This is all related to the Jerusalem or Jewish people. The walls were built, and then Jesus has come, entered the city as a king. The first time Jesus made himself as a king on the earth. Many times people wanted to make him king, but he ran away. He was in obscurity because he doesn't want to come. He came as a savior. He fulfilled the plan, and then at the end he revealed himself as a king. Zechariah 9th chapter says that. And then the nation Israel. History of the nation Israel. Now we are coming to that nation Israel. Yeah, this is because I gave an elaborated study, so there is a little bit you have to bear with me. Yes, sir. So, after the city was destroyed and the temple was destroyed, all the Jews scattered all over the world, and the land became desolate, and there was total almost 1900 years in obscurity. There was no Israel. There is no nation. There is no temple. There is no Hebrew language. They're all scattered. They're scattered. And now it is a fulfillment of Ezekiel 36 and 37. And very strange, the languages have come along with the kingdoms. Latin was used when Jesus was on this earth. The Greek language was there. And there are different languages, but they're all gone with the nation in the obscurity. But only language, I want to tell you, my friend, the Hebrew language is still alive. In 1881, Eliezer ben Yehuda, he said, my people should have our language. It is the prophecy of Zephaniah. It was fulfilled. The language has come alive along with the people, along with the nation. That's strange. That's the reason Israel is unique. And in 1948, May 14th, the nation Israel was reborn. And today, the fig tree is budding. Today, if you see Israel, it's one of the nations which dominates the military power in the Middle East, technology, agriculture, IT, You name anything, today Israel is on the top. So it is budding now. And Jesus has very well, he said in Matthew 24 and Mark 13 and Luke 21 on the olive discourse. When you see the fig tree shoots up or budding forth, the judge is at the door. He is coming. When you see these things, so nation Israel, is it the over? No, still nation Israel has its own plans. Temple has not been built. When it's going to be built? When it's going to be built? So during this tribulation period, there's a lot of key role nation Israel is going to play. And they are going to enter into the covenant with Antichrist. You know that? Because today Israel is under pressure. Russia is warning one side. Hamas are attacking from Syria. And Zechariah 14th chapter, 12th chapter, it says it's going to become a burdensome stone for the nation. And it has to take shelter somewhere. Very recently, Vladimir Putin has warned, because nation Israel, they wanted to help Ukraine. They wanted to send some technology to them. But he warned about this. So my friends, one day it has to come and accept Antichrist as their Messiah. Jesus already said, I have come in my name, but you have not accepted me. Another will come in his name, you are going to accept. So nation Israel, even till today, they have not accepted Jesus Christ as their Messiah. So they are going to accept Antichrist as their Messiah. And they are going to enter into the covenant. 7-year treaty, 1 week, the last 70th week. And awaiting for what? Horrendous Holocaust. Jacob's trials. And Jesus has very well said, they are going to suffer horrendously. The tribulation period. Never in the history. So, after the rapture, they enter into the covenant, and then Antichrist allow them to build the church, the temple. This is the nation Israel's history. After this, during the 70th week, still we are in 70 weeks of Daniel. In the 70th week, the temple is going to be built. Sacrifices are to commence. And Israel will be happy. And then, in the middle of the week, he will break the covenant. And the temple is going to be desecrated. And he will sit in the temple as a god. Antichrist will become like a god. And nation Israel flees into the desert. Then they will recognize, oh, this is not Messiah. With whom they have made covenant there, he is not Messiah. He is the evil one. So they run away to the desert for 1,260 days. And God has a very special place for them to be protected. He will protect them. Revelation 12th chapter. He's going to protect them for 3.5 years. 2.5 years. So at the end of 70th week, Jesus will come and fight the battle for Israel. And that's the time all Israel will be saved. All Israel will be saved. You know, it's very well said in Zechariah, when Jesus is coming, they beat their breasts and they mourn as if they are mourning for the firstborn. So they accept Jesus as the Messiah. And after that, Jesus is going to establish the millennial kingdom, and all Israel, those who are survived, believed in Jesus Christ, they will be the citizens of millennial kingdom. When we go to that subject, I will give you the clear picture about that. But nation Israel, that is the destiny. It's not over when in AD 70, Titus, the general of Roman Empire, destroyed the city, destroyed the temple, scattered the people. That was not the end, my friend. Still they have history. And this is how they have final destiny, millennial kingdom. Millennial kingdom. Well, is that over? No. God has prophesied about, it's a tea time. Maybe, can we have a little 15 minutes later? Is it? It's here? Okay. We will have a quick tea and then we will continue this. We'll continue. Shall we? Now, the last part of the 70th week, then we'll close this Daniel 70 week. It's a very interesting subject, my friend. And very exciting, amazing. It's my most favorite subject. Okay, now we will disperse for just 15 minutes. You can stretch yourself and you can have a tea and come back. Tea is served here, that's outside the church. Please, move fast.